Alright, let's continue discussing the CCIE LAB requirements, specifically 1.3 and 1.13 regarding port security, Layer 2 port security. Now let's configure this SW700, which is the one shown in the diagram. This is the switch inside branch 4, and it has two hosts connected below. One is 71 and the other is 72. The requirement here is very simple. On this device, we're asked to configure this device to create two, one of which is 100. VLAN 100 is bound to the left interface, and the right interface is bound to VLAN 414. So these two VLANs are assigned to these two interfaces, and each of these interfaces can only learn one MAC address. Each can only learn one MAC address, meaning that if any other host connects, it will be considered an unauthorized host. If an unauthorized host is detected here, that is, if there is unauthorized access, then we are required to generate this send an alert, and also the counter increases, that is, it keeps track of how many unauthorized accesses I've received. As for the right interface, it should be directly set to an error interface. If it receives an unauthorized MAC address, then it should be switched to an error interface. Also, set the aging time for the MAC address on this interface to 60 seconds. 60 seconds. In addition, after taking punitive action on this interface, within 300 seconds. Restore it, or rather, not 300 seconds, but 3 minutes. Restore its status within 3 minutes so it can resume forwarding. After entering the error state, it stops forwarding, right? We want it to recover within 3 minutes. Resume forwarding. So let's go ahead and configure this. Let's do this configuration. Just a moment. First, on this particular SW700 switch, we absolutely need to know the specific MAC addresses of the two end hosts, right? Let's carefully check the MAC addresses first, shall we? So as you can see, these two hosts, once we enable the interfaces for both hosts, if you turn on their interfaces, they'll communicate, and the MAC addresses will be learned automatically, right? Through this 020 interface, it will learn 71 on this side and 72 on the other. Next, we need to bind this port, that is, bind it to the corresponding port. First, let's create a VLAN on this device as required. The framework includes two VLANs, VLAN 100 and VLAN 414. Alright, then for the G0-0 interface on the left side, configure it to access mode. And allow VLAN 100 on it, that is, bind it to VLAN 100. At this point, its PVID changes to 100, right? Then, for this port, we need to configure port security to allow what? To allow it to learn up to the maximum number of MAC addresses. It can only learn one MAC address. It can learn at most one. According to this requirement, that's number 3. Right? That's requirement 3. Just now we set this to access mode, and binding VLAN 100 is requirement 2. So the next step is to statically bind its MAC address. Statically bind this MAC address. Then, after binding the MAC, let's look at the MAC address table here. We just checked it, right? This is its MAC, and we'll bind it here. Okay, in addition, this port is set to discard unknown when it encounters unknown other MAC addresses. If there's any unauthorized access, it will discard it. Discard it and report it. Discard it and send a syslog message. Okay, that's requirement 5, right? Then enable security monitoring. Oh, this port configuration is done. After finishing this, we'll configure another port, which is the 0 to 1 port on the right here. From 0 to 1 upwards. Okay, switch port mode and set it. Maybe this is VLAN 414. And then this one. This is also Tuesday. Then for this port, set it so it can only learn one, just like the one above and the left interface. Only one can be learned, then set its aging time. Set the aging time for it first. Set the aging time. Change it to 1 minute, which is 60 seconds. This is requirement 7, but for requirement 7, just configuring this alone isn't enough to meet it. So you also need to set it to absolute aging. Absolute aging time. I'm solo. Alright, after carefully configuring that particular setting, then we need to configure this static binding mark, right? Then first, let's thoroughly check this mark. Just now, it was positioned a little too far up. We need to verify the mark's address. Alright, this one is outside, right? You know? Don't ask for a mother. Mostly security, and then it's mark binding. Bind this line. After the school's additional binding, then configure this. This is the punishment action. Hey, it's not set here. First, enable this port security. First, enable port security, and then under the global view, configure this punishment action. Enabling this automatically is the recovery function. That is, after the punishment is done, just now we already blacklisted for punishment. After the punishment, you need to enable it to restore the port status. That is, just enable this automatic recovery function. Then, what else do we configure? We set the recovery time, which is 180 seconds. 180 seconds, that's 3 minutes. Alright, after this configuration, that's the setup for requirement 1.13, port security. If anyone wants to learn Cisco technology or is interested in taking the CCIE certification, you can send me a private message or leave a comment below the video.